Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Kurt Ashcraft, and I'm the Communications Director for the Ohio Pork Council. I have the honor of working with and on behalf of Ohio's pig farmers, like the one we'll be visiting here today, to help them in their mission to provide healthy, safe, and delicious pork products while taking care of both their animals and our environment while doing so. We are so glad that you have joined us today for a live virtual tour of Horde Family Farms and to learn a little bit more about careers in the pork industry. But before we go out to the farm, I want to take a couple of housekeeping items so you'll know how to interact with us today. To help us with that is our co-moderator for the day, Cheryl Day, the Executive Vice President for the Ohio Pork Council. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, thank you, Kurt. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We wanted to make today's event as engaging and interactive as possible. If you're joining us by Zoom, we invite you to submit your questions in the Q&A box. So please, when you want to ask the farmer a question, enter it in that Q&A box. We also are live streaming at YouTube. Unfortunately, due to restrictions at schools, we had to shut off the live chat function. So just sit back and relax if you're joining us from YouTube. And with that said, Kurt, how about you introduce our farmer today so we can get this trip rolling?
Thank you, Cheryl. Today, we have the pleasure of connecting live with Madison Adams from Horde Livestock and Family Farms, which is a pig, cow, and grain farm in north central Ohio. The Hordes have been farming for over 100 years and are now on the 5th generation of family and farming business. They raise their pigs from birth to market. So without further ado, let's welcome Madison and get started. Hi, Madison. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Would you mind kind of telling us a little bit more about yourself and Horde Farms and what you do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Madison Adams. I have worked for Hordes for about 6 years. I've had the opportunity to work with pigs from breeding all the way until market. I currently work in their research department where we test different diet titrations to ensure that we're feeding the most beneficial ingredients to our pigs. Right now, I am in our nursery facility. These pigs are about 56 days old and have been in the nursery for about 5 weeks. There are 27 pigs per pen, 1,300 pigs per room, and there are 4 rooms, so there are 5,200 pigs in this barn. I start my day a little bit differently than the average person. We are required to shower in and out of each facility we visit. We don't want to take out or bring in any potential illnesses to the pigs. This is one of the many biosecurity procedures we do at Hordes to ensure good health. When you enter a barn, you leave your street clothes on what we call the dirty side of the shower. You shower through, and clothes are provided for you on what we call the clean side of the shower. We'll try to show you what I'm wearing. A lot of people wear boots, scrub pants, and t-shirts. You do have the option to wear coveralls as well. So, any questions?
So Madison, can you just tell us, it looks like the pigs are all the same color. Why is that? I mean, what breed makes them white or pink, or can you explain that to us?
At Hordes, we have Yorkshire and Landrace cross pigs. We chose these pigs because they are known for being great mothers. So in our sow units, when pigs are farrowing, giving birth, we have just as much help from the mothers as we do some of our technicians.
That makes sense. And for those watching on the screen, you can see that these are the major swine breeds. So we do have all colored pigs, right? So some of the popular breeds are Durocs and Berkshire for meat quality. And then the Yorkshire and Landrace does add those mothering abilities that Madison discussed with us. Just as a reminder, if you have a question, please type it in the Q&A box because we'd love to hear from you and what you want to talk to Madison about. So Madison, there's a lot of pigs there. How do you know when they're healthy and how they're sick?
So on a daily basis, we do pig care. There's a few things that go into pig care: ventilation, individual health of pigs, feed adjustment, and checking waters. Ventilation is one of the most important things when it comes to commercial hog farming. The ventilation helps us maintain a consistent temperature in the barns. Stress can make the pigs more likely to contract illnesses, so we try to keep them comfortable as possible. We have a couple things in each room that help us do this. We have 2 heaters that you can see over on the far wall. We also use heat lamps to supplement a more direct source of heat for the pigs. These are mainly used within the first 14 days of pigs arriving in the barns.
No, go ahead, go for it.
That's the way we heat the barn. We also have inlets and fans in every room. The inlets are on the ceiling. These draw in fresh air to the barn, and the fans, like you can see on the back wall, pull the air from the inlets out of the barn. So on the very hot days in summer, the ceiling inlets will open and the fans will pull the cool air down from the ceiling inlets. And when I walk into a room and I assess that the temperature is fine, that all the pigs are comfortable, I jump into pig care. This starts with the individual health. So I'm walking pins, looking at each pig, getting everyone up. I'm looking for any lameness or any sicknesses. I then, once I find a pig that does have an issue, I will treat it with the appropriate medication.
So you gave us a good look in the barn and how it's like climate control, right? It's like having air conditioning in the classroom or having heat during the winter. Let's step back and talk about how you house and care for them and discuss the feed and water. Like, what's the daily routine there?
Yes, so as I'm walking pens and looking at pigs individually, I pay attention to the feeders and waters. We want to make sure that we have 40 to 50% can coverage in the feeders. This helps reduce waste and helps keep a clean feeder for the pigs. Next to the feeder is the cup water. Inside the cup water is a nipple that the pigs use to release water. Our feed is made up mainly of corn and soybean meal that is grinded up at our feed mill. The feed mill then delivers the feed to the barn where it's stored outside in silos. The silos have augers underneath of them, and the augers pull the feed into the barn through these feed lines like I'm showing you, and they are dropped to each individual feeder.
So what's a daily routine look like for you in the barn?
So once I shower in, I get started right away on pig care. I'm looking at pigs, I'm checking feeders and waters, making sure that the feed system has delivered all the feed correctly, and that everyone's happy and comfortable.
So tell me, how old are those pigs that we're looking at right now?
So these pigs are about 56 days old. They have been in this nursery for about 35 days. Here in another week or so, they will head to a finishing site.
Hey, Madison, just a quick question. Let's talk about the life cycle of a pig. You said the pigs in this area are how old again? Did you mind chiming in on that?
Yep, they're 35 days old. So how these pigs got here, it all starts in gestation. So pigs are bred at about 6 months of age. They are pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. Once they are bred, they are checked at 21 days to ensure that they are pregnant. We use an ultrasound machine to do that. Once a pig has reached their 115-day gestation period, they are moved to farrowing, where they give birth to their piglets. A litter of piglets is about 14 to 20 pigs, sometimes more. The pigs are born at about 2 to 3 pounds. Our team members at the sow units help the sows care for their piglets for 21 days. And pigs weigh about 13 to 15 pounds whenever they are weaned. Once they are weaned, a truck driver picks them up and brings them to a nursery like this one, where they stay for 42 to 50 days, about 6 weeks. After they reach that 6-week mark, another truck driver comes, picks them up, and delivers them to the finisher site, where they will stay for another 5 or 6 months or until they reach the 280 market weight.
Perfect. And just want to remind everyone, don't be afraid to leave questions in the Q&A box. We would love to have Madison answer some questions if you have any out there. Would you mind, Madison, kind of going back a little bit, and would you mind talking about how all the pens get cleaned, and is that something you're in charge of, and what how does that go, that process work?
So we actually do not clean pens. As you can see on the floor, there are small slats. Below the slats are a pit. This is essentially a catch-all for waste. The pits are about 10 to 18 feet deep, and we actually do not clean the pits either. They grow a healthy bacteria, which helps break down the waste. We then use the waste manure as fertilizer on our fields. The fertilizer is spread at controlled times that's most beneficial for the crops in the soil. And this helps us avoid using chemicals on the crops and helps us do it in a more organic way.
So Madison, I realize that, obviously the manure is captured below under those slats, but once this flow of pigs is moving on to a next part of their lives, what do you do in between? Do you power wash the barns? Do you do something for biosecurity wise to keep it
Yes.
clean?
Yes. So once all the pigs are out of the barn, we will break down each pen and we will soak the barn down. That way everything comes off very easily. And we will power wash from ceiling to the floor. After we power wash, we then disinfect the room and we'll let the disinfectant dry before the next pigs come into the barn.
There's a lot of pigs there. How do you keep track of them, and how many people work in this barn, in this facility?
So in this current facility, it is myself and 2 other people. When it comes to tracking pigs, we do it a few different ways. So like I talked about earlier, there are 4 rooms in this barn, rooms 1 through 4. And each room, there are 4 rows A, B, C, and D. And there are 12 pens in every row. So as you can see here, I am looking at room 1, row B. To my left is pen 8, and to my right is pen 7. So if I were to need to revisit a pig for some reason, I would be able to mark this pig with a blue, red, or green stripe. And then I would take note of what pen they're in and know where to return the next day.
So Madison, so it appears there's many transition points and a lot of people involved in caring for, managing, and helping those who raise these pigs throughout their life. Can you talk about some of the different careers available both at horde farms and in the industry in general related to pig farming?
Yes, so a couple that I have already mentioned would be the sow units, nurseries, and growers. We have our technicians in these barns. We have managers in these barns, just helping make sure that the day-to-day gets done and the pigs are very well taken care of. We also have truck drivers, like I mentioned, that transport the pigs from barn to barn. We have the feed mill that makes the feed. They mix diets. They also have feed truck drivers. And then in order to keep this all working, we have maintenance workers. These are essentially our handy men and women that can fix anything that goes wrong or gets broken. They're able to come help us out with that.
Very cool.
So go ahead, Kurt.
No, very, very cool. Absolutely. And we appreciate you diving into all those different sectors, Madison. Do you have to grow up or know anything about pig farming to be involved in the pork industry? How did you go about getting into the pork industry, and how long did it take you to learn and feel comfortable with pig farming?
So I actually had no prior pig experience when I started at Hordes. And I know a lot of other people who work for Hordes that also didn't have any prior pig experience. I do know people who have went to school for animal science and ag degrees. But no, not necessarily. You don't need any prior experience. I'd say it took me about 6 months to really get comfortable, maybe a year around pigs. But I mean, it's a very versatile workplace. So there's lots of people to help you along the way and help you learn. Yeah.
So obviously in the pig world, we have different people in the barn that come in at different skill set. I think you're a great example of, never been in a pig barn, never worked here, but I was open to caring for these animals and being a great caretaker. So if they grew up taking care of animals and maybe even got a 4-year degree, is there a place for them working at Hordes?
Yes, absolutely. There are all different kinds of positions. Lots of positions in the sow units as managers, nursery and growers, being on the service team, working with things more on the nutrition side. So there are a wide variety of jobs for everyone, that, you know, people who have educations and people who don't.
And who helps you with the animal health side of it?
So we do have vets that we work with. Normally we refer to them whenever there is a more widespread herd issue. The day-to-day treatments are more on the shoulders of the technicians in the barns, but we do use vets to do some more widespread testing, and they also help us if we want to they also help us if we want to look at changing any protocols, what's going to benefit the pigs the most. On our end, we do give some preventative vaccines to the pigs. We give a flu vaccine and a sowback vaccine. The sowback vaccine helps give pregnant sows the antibodies, very similar to what your mother would give to you, all to just really try to keep the pigs as healthy as possible.
And so, Madison, I mean, have you ever given a vaccination to an animal before you came working to hordes?
No, I'm not.
So it's possible to learn it, right?
Yes, the first time I ever gave a shot to any animal was at hordes. So
that's great. And I think Madison did a great job of showing us the careers, or talking about the careers. And when we link that across the pork supply chain, there's those partners, those production partners that have a great career path too. She has mentioned that she has a nutritionist that helps them with the feed rations, a veterinarian that would help them with animal health. We'll have individuals like Kurt and I who work in the industry to help educate the producers, help set policy, and promote pork. And so we all work, whether it's somebody working in a processing plant, we all work together to make sure that we produce great pork for your plate. And we really appreciate everything Madison's doing there in the barn. Kurt, do you have anything else for us?
Yes, actually. Well, Madison, this has been really cool to be a part of. But unfortunately, it looks like we're kind of getting toward the end of time right now. So I just want to kind of ask you one final question. What is the thing you enjoy most about being a pig farmer and working at hordes? And do you have anything else you would like to add before it is ultimately time to go?
Well, I think my favorite thing is being hands-on with the pigs, getting to work with them every day, feeling like I can make a difference each day. So other than that, I don't think I have anything else for us.
Great. Does anybody else have any final questions? Please type them in the Q&A. We'd love to answer your questions. Madison's very, very eager to answer some more questions if you have anything. Hey, Madison, what's your favorite pork product?
Pork tenderloin.
Why?
It is by far my favorite. I don't know. I just, being able to throw in the oven for 30-ish minutes, I think it being easy and how tender it is definitely makes it, I think, the best one.
What's the best part about working with hordes and the horde family system and the pigs?
The best part of working at hordes is the people I work for, honestly, and the pigs. But the hordes are very personable, and I know them all personally. And then getting to come to work and do something that I love. I mean, I'm an animal person. I was before, not to this level quite, but now I get to enjoy these animals every day. So
it's like a family, is it not? I mean, hordes themselves is a family running the business and then employing people like you, but it kind of makes you feel like you're one big family, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Well, perfect. Well, Madison, we just want to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy day to connect with us and show us around your pig barn. We certainly appreciate it and look forward to connecting again sometime soon. So have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Madison. And as we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just be sure to let everybody know that there will be a post-tour survey open in your browser upon the conclusion of the tour, and in a follow-up email you'll receive within 24 hours. We do greatly appreciate you taking a moment to complete that survey to help us evaluate our trips. Speaking of trips, this is just the first of many more to come this fall and into next spring. We have 4 trips to a variety of farms between now and Thanksgiving. For elementary students, you can also see them on your screen here, as well as another trip for middle and high school students focusing on how pig farmers keep their pigs warm in the winter on December 16th at 10 a.m. You can find all details and registration links at ohiopork.org/field trip or virtualfarmtrips.com. On behalf of the Ohio Pork Council and Ohio Pig Farmers, Cheryl Day, and our technical producer, Dan Tolan, as well as Madison Adams, we thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you again on a future virtual field trip. Have a great afternoon, everyone.